Hey everyone, and welcome to this Marvel Snap deck guide, where we're going to be talking about one of the absolute best Pool 3 exclusive deck lists that you can play in Marvel Snap, and that is the Electro Ramp list. What's amazing about this deck list is that you really don't need any of the current Series 4 and 5 cards to make this deck list work. Like, of course, there might be one or two you can add later on down the road, but this deck works so well, so damn well with just Pool 3 cards. It literally is one of the absolute best that you can play. I gotta tell you guys, this list is one of my go-tos on my quest towards Infinite as I'm pushing up the ranks. This is a deck list that I can reliably play, even though it only has Series 3 cards in it. It really is that good. The advantage to a deck list like this, and I will go through substitutions momentarily, an advantage of a deck list like this is that it has a number of options at all points in the game. So what you'll notice here is we do have Iceman. We only run one drop because if we don't play on one, it's not a big deal. Iceman gives us a lot of value, but realistically, if we don't draw a card for one, that's fine. We don't want to stuff our deck with too many inexpensive cards that really impact our play later on. Because after turn 3, we want to just be dropping massive card after massive card. Scorpion and Lizard are basically the two highest tempo 2-drops in the game currently. Obviously, a lot of counterplay on Scorpion versus like Surfer decks and things along those lines. Brood gets destroyed by it, and Lizard's just super high value. And, often, honestly, ends up being a 2-5 and can be pure bait into the opponent to kind of zoo into it as well. So either way, Lizard is always good value. The key combination here is both Electro and Wave. Electro is the preferred card because that +1 energy allows you to access those much bigger cards that you want by turn 4. And Wave's good too. It's just a little bit of a different strategy. Like when you have Electro on turn 4, you can basically play 5-drop and then you play a 6 and then another 6. With Wave, the strategy is a little different. You often play a 6 and then a 5 and then a 6, right? So it's a little bit different with the play style. However, with Wave, it's also notable that the opponent gets to play a huge card too, right? That's why it's not quite as beneficial. So if you have both in your hand, first of all, you're blessed, but also you want to play the Electro more than likely. If you're against a combo list, like if you're suspecting, like if you see Zabu or Psylocke on the board, you want to do a turn 4 Leech, destroy the Mr. Negative deck, and that's exactly what you want to hit him with. If you think it's Silver Surfer or whatever, you want to Leech. Otherwise, Arrow and Vision provide a ton of extra value on turn 4. On turn 5, I like putting Dr. Doom and then following up with a turn 6 Odin, which spreads the amount of power just across the board, and you can fill up so much space. Magneto is a great option as well, very disruptive, and obviously huge power. And Chavez is one of those cards you really don't ever play. The reason why Chavez is in the list is to increase the odds of you pulling Electro on turn 3 or Wave on turn 3 as a backup plan, because without them, this deck doesn't really function. If you don't have them on turn 3 and someone snaps, you walk. Like, you just retreat. It's very likely that you won't be able to keep up the tempo if you don't effectively play Electro or Wave on turn 3, okay? So just please bear that in mind. You don't have an appropriate 4-drop because you just retreat if you don't have that condition. Now, let's talk about substitutions here. Substitutions, I know, are a very common question. Now, the only card I wouldn't really substitute here is, like, you could play this deck with just Wave, but without Electro, this deck feels horrible. Electro kind of is, like, the key component here. I mean, it is called Electro Ramp, so without Electro, it might not necessarily work. But without Wave, you can still play it. If you don't have Wave, there's two options, okay? You can pick up a 4-drop or you can pick up a 2-drop. With Wave, what I would suggest is either playing Scarlet Witch or someone like White Queen or Jessica Jones, because what that allows you to do is either have a 4-drop if you miss the 3, because then you might, maybe you have two, like you have Scorpion and Lizard that you can play, or Iceman gets drawn and you can play it anyway, but you have a turn 4 play. Scarlet Witch kind of ensures that too. You'll probably be likely to be able to play one of your 2s on turn 4, so it's not the end of the world, or on turn 3, I should say. If you don't have Arrow, I would suggest Spider-Woman. I think Spider-Woman is a really interesting option for Arrow. Really high value play, disruptive for Zeus-style decks, and obviously like Patriot-style lists and anything along those lines. High value, but obviously doesn't have the disruption that Arrow does, because Arrow just is an amazing card. You're going to have Vision, of course, but Dr. Doom's an interesting substitution if you do not have Dr. Doom. White Tiger is actually a card that could be considered because it also has the ability to work well with Odin and spread some power. White Tiger, the Tigers go to the side lanes, and obviously you have the Doom bots that do the same. Odin you obviously have already. Now Magneto's an interesting one. If you don't have Magneto, the most natural option is to use the Hulk. However, I think a better option, honestly, is Ebony Maw. The reason for this is because Ebony Maw is a 1/7. A 1/7 is huge. And the nice thing about this 1/7 is that if you play it on turn 1, right? It doesn't even matter. You just throw it on turn 1, and you might think, but now I can't play there. But if you have Dr. Doom and White Tiger, like, you're constantly accessing that lane with Doombots, Tigers, and whatnot, not to mention Vision. And you can even control your opponent's ability to play there with Arrow. You can pull cards out of there with Magneto. This 1/7 is surprisingly resilient at all points in the game. So Ebony Maw represents a very good tech into a ramp-based list. Now, guys, one thing I'll ask is if you guys really like these videos and if you guys truly find them helpful, consider hitting the like button, because I'm doing these Pool 3 exclusive deck lists because I feel it's what the community really wants to see. Moreover, if you'd like to join us on Twitch TV, we have so much fun. The link is in the description and in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy these gameplay highlights where I showcase how to pilot this amazing Pool 3 exclusive deck. Alright guys, so for this first game, I'm going to be taking a very educational approach to how to actually play the deck list. Now, we do have Electro in our hand. I'm not willing to snap at this point. I'm going to be looking for the advantage first. I do think that I want to see a couple of the locations first. We are getting Monster Island. Now, interestingly enough, we don't have Shang-Chi or Armor in this list, so Monster Island does represent a little bit of a disadvantage. Now, what you can see here is the reason why we only run one cost here. We just drew the Iceman, but like getting him out of the way now is fine because he's never going to get played now, right? Because we have the Electro. Now, what's interesting here is they do have a Invisible Woman. Now, Luke's bar is pretty beneficial for us because we do get Dr. Doom that can access it. We have a Scorpion in there. That's why we play into those blind locations. What we then can do is we probably now play the rest of our cards into Shuri's Lab, particularly with Vision. So what we're going to do is we are going to play Electro here. We're probably seeing a hella discard list if it's Invisible Woman, but you can never be too sure. Playing the Invisible Woman into mid is interesting because it's losing one particular location, like one spot in the location, thanks to the monster. And also they played a 1-drop there. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I'm willing to snap here. I think he's going to leave because we see Luke's bar being occupied. Vision's going to be coming in as a 14, which would be, we can then move around quite a bit every single turn. We can actually move it safely into the Invisible Woman location because Shang-Chi won't even activate there. Mr. Fantastic coming down, which is a little weird, and Ant-Man coming as well. So they're trying to really commit to the Shuri's Lab, which I think is a weird flex, but okay. I think what we're going to do here is we move the Vision here. It's going to be protected here. We are going to play the Dr. Doom. It's going to be a 10. It's going to activate into Luke's bar, fill the location on Monster Island, and then we honestly are probably likely just to follow with Dr. Doom. Or sorry, that's Magneto. It's Prof X. Okay. Pretty solid counterplay. Gotta give him credit. Pretty solid counterplay. But what are the chances that he can really trade here effectively with this Vision? What I'm seeing here is I thought it was probably hella discard, but this is clearly a Spectrum based list. This is not going to be Wong. So I still think we win because if it's Spectrum, I think Vision goes here, Magneto goes here. I think whatever he has, it's very hard for him to trade here. I would expect him to retreat, honestly. I'm willing to go for the 4. He's gone. Okay, so I kind of suspected he was going to retreat because we simply have way too much value here. Dr. Doom did his job getting the Doombots out there. You saw the Vision giving us the mobility. That's why we play Vision, right? Naturally, Vision on Shuri's Lab is just absolutely broken. It's like one of the best combinations in the game. But Vision early on turn 4, like you can move him so much and it's very hard for the opponent to predict that movement. That's what makes him valuable. All right, so for the second game, once again, I'm going to do my best to actually really describe what we're doing here. So we do get squirrels on the board, which is horrible. So that means that we're not going to want to prioritize Lizard here because Lizard's very easy to counter in this situation. We're going to throw out the Scorpion. They also skip their turn, which means that they're holding an extra card, which makes Scorpion a little more valuable, right? We just hit 5 cards there, so Scorpion's effectively a 2/7. A little OP in my opinion, but hey, what are you going to do? Actually, good play there. Scorpion wouldn't have been able to play there prior. Now, we do not have our Electro or our Wave, so this is already a game situation where we have to think about leaving in the event of a snap. We are not going to be able to play on turn 4. The only card that we can play on turn 4 is Iceman if we draw it. If we top deck Iceman, we can play turn 4. And that is a horrible turn 4 play. So we're already off curve because we do not have the... oh, well... sometimes lucky, I guess, right? That's blessed. Was not expecting that to happen. We could even consider snapping here, honestly, because now we have a bit of a combination play. He's holding 7 cards. We have Leech. So in this case here, I would snap, and I would consider playing Leech. I don't want to play Leech too much over there. I think that it might be overcommitting. But you know what? I think we ultimately do. Leech on the right here. It's hard for him to zoo into it. So we'll do this. He has 7 in his hand. Leech is probably the highest impact play we can make here. He goes mid. Leech drops. He's going to get 6 cards leeched. That probably feels awful. He gets either Magneto or Odin. It's going to have its ability. He also did not draw a card now. We also have the opportunity to arrow into Odin, which is one of the key combinations, which forces him into a very specific location. So what we've done, we've already snapped here. We're going to arrow, and then we can Odin, and it's going to force him into the left location. Twice in a row, we have turn initiative, and it makes it so effectively he can't even play here. Let's see. Let's bring it on over here. Oh. Ain't that something? Well, now we're in a situation where we just Odin here, right? With the Odin play, once again, now we are losing mid. I would have liked it better if we were winning mid. However, we do know that he might have our Magneto, which means that Magneto gaps another 4 on the Odin. It brings it to 11, so we are still in a winnable condition. Arrow's going to reproc. The only disadvantage is if he plays more than 1 card, but then again, we do fill this location. Lizard drops by 3. Odin should be able to cover it. We are missing mid. So, I mean, this is a bit of a risky play. We could play it safer, honestly. And what we could do is we could just simply play something like a Magneto mid. It forces him to have to play on either side. And actually, we outgap Dr. Doom by 1 here as well. So this is the correct play mid, and he leaves. Okay, so that was a bit blessed because of the Tinkerer's Workshop that dropped on turn 4. As you can see, we drew the Wave late and Electro never. So whenever you're in those situations, you're going to want to consider leaving. We got saved by Tinkerer's Workshop. But if I'm in a situation where I'm on turn 3 and I don't have an appropriate play and they snap, I leave. You give up the 1 cube, it doesn't matter because without Electro and Wave, you're gambling. Like, we got saved this game, but you can't depend on that. I like my confetti. I love confetti. Oh, look. It's a Zabu player. Surprise, surprise. Gamers always be gaming with Zabu. Can't get away from it. You've binged the podcast on Spotify? A random guy from New York? That's great. I love that. It makes me very happy to hear that you like the podcast. Truly, it does. Because like for Coccia and I, like we really do try. Like we plan them really well, and I think that it means a lot to me to hear that you actually like the podcast, truthfully. Like it's a good feeling to know that people are resonating with our work, you know. Do this. Magic. You have to also understand, though, that... Oh, here we go. Odin, come to the middle. Look at this arrow reproc, by the way. You love to see it. Oh my god, it's beautiful! Oh my god, Darkhawk. Almost a dub. Snap, this guy leaves. Yeah, he's gone. Clean win, guys. That's exactly what this deck does. It's just a very clean deck. All pool 3. All hot and spicy. All wins. Come on, Iceman. Show me what you've got. It's always Central Park. Wow, imagine drawing any cards that are useful. Yeah, Iceman only hits cards that are under 6 power. That is correct. We are having the worst luck imaginable. The worst luck imaginable here, guys.
Clear for takeoff.
I think it has to be Vision. As much as I want to Leech here, we don't have the tempo. We have the Vision. Okay, that was not a high tempo play on his part. Could do this. Pull all these over. He won't expect it. This could be a very epic Magneto play. Leave vision, pull everyone. Oh my god, it worked. Oh my god. That is the nicest Magneto play of all time. Nice, blessed curve here. Okay, armor. Wave is really disruptive to him as well. He's not going to want to play into that location with his stones. Okay, he's going to have 5 hit here. Yeah. It's what Leech does, right? Again, Leech just completely dismantles decks. Because you wave, it prevents him from dumping his hand, and then you leech him next turn, and his whole hand just becomes useless, right? You see this often. So we have a blessed hand here. I think we can snap. We have Iceman into Lizard into Electro Leech. If, like, I could customize my hand to make sure it always had the same thing, he snaps back. We're going. Big game. It's a big game. We'll see what he has. But this is pretty much the strongest opening I can have with this deck. Right? So I'm not sure what his plans are. The fact that he doesn't play on this turn, the more cards he holds, the more beneficial it becomes for our Leech. Okay, he snapped because he has Zabu, that's why. And that's not good for us. We're running out of space. But if he's playing a deck that uses negative, which is what I assume he's playing, it is negative. It's a negative deck. But he's screwed. He just doesn't have negative in his hand, I guess. We're both running out of space. If he plays Mr. Negative, we definitely play Odin left to re-proc the Leech. It's Iron Man. Yeah, we just got to be careful. Scorpion doesn't get Grand Central right now. Arrow writes the play. Okay, we'll do it. Okay, Odin's pretty solid. Oh my god, this guy got wrecked. Oh my god, he got wrecked. That's a disaster for him. Magneto left pulls Bishop. But he only has one card in his hand that he just drew now that isn't completely stripped of its abilities. I think when I press final end turn, I think when I end the turn, I think he's gonna retreat. I think we go Magneto left. Wow, he's going mid. Not what I expected. I think this dude tilted out. He tilted. Okay. This is a human player. I think he tilted out. And he should have retreated. So I guess we'll take those 8 cubes. But a little bit of a strange play from someone we know it's not a bot. I don't know, man. I don't know.